So you're a parent who doesn't want to get tested. Fair enough. Let's walk through the consequences of that decision, just so that you are very clear on what it may or may not happen. Let's assume that you are HIV positive for a moment. Let's assume that you choose not to come forward and get treatment, care, and support, and that you actually make the choice to die. That's your choice. I respect that. What I'm curious to know is what about your children? Who's going to take care of your children? Are you going to leave them as a burden to another member of your family who probably is struggling to make a living, struggling to support their own family, going through a whole process on their own, and now in your death, you basically willing your children to them leaves them with a burden that will now deprive their family, will deprive their children of a good education because now there's less resources to go around. And then as a result of that, do you honestly believe in your heart of hearts that your family is going to remember you fondly? I suggest not to. What I suggest to you is that your family is going to probably hate you and not hold you in high regard and talk fondly of you and with great adoration and all the rest of it because essentially you chose to commit suicide. But let's assume that your family can't step in and take care of your children. Then what's going to happen to your children? Let's for a moment say that you have a daughter. She's probably 8, 9, maybe 10 years old. And by the time you die, she's 13, 14, maybe 15 years old. So she's now pulled out of school, so there goes her chance of getting any kind of education because essentially she's got nowhere to live, no relatives are going to take care of her. State institutions probably won't activate for several months, which in the meantime, in order to put food on the table, she'll probably resort to prostitution or exchange or transactional sex. I don't mean prostitution, it's actually transactional. She'll give up her virginity and, offer herself up to men for a loaf of white bread. That's your daughter. Your son, who knows with him? He may join a gang of street kids who essentially rob people at their ATM machine and blow people's brains up because they managed to get enough money together, or they hit on somebody and they somehow come across a gun, and the next thing you know, they're blowing my brains out for the cell phone in my pocket and the 25 bucks in my wallet, all because you essentially said you didn't find it a comfortable concept knowing you were HIV positive. So I want you to just play those things through in your mind, and just give that one some thought, and then see if your decision not to get tested is still valid. You see, if you get tested, you can get onto the medication. The earlier you know, the more we can do to help you, the more you can do to help yourself, the less chance you have of dying. The longer you wait, if you wait until the very bitter end to come forward and get help, the chances are we're not going to be able to do a whole hell of a lot to help you out. All right. Um, so why protract that process? At some point, you're going to come forward and want to get the help. Why wait until it's too late? Come forward now. Know your status as early as you possibly can. Live a positive lifestyle. If you need the ARVs, go on the ARVs. And guess what? You can have a normal life. You can raise your children. You know what? You can even help raise your grandchildren. You can be there for your granddaughter's graduation from high school or university. Come on, you owe it to your children. Please.